Let's go back live to City Hall where TTC CEO Mandeep Lali is speaking.
At the time, there was a window of 232 million that we had to bridge, and the team have done wonderful in respect to look at opportunities, efficiency, the city to bridge that to just under 93 million. So let's just establish that. That's point one. Point two, the budget that was approved by the board today is one that will help us address long-term sustainability and affordability. Do I have the answers right now? No, because we have to go through that diligence detail, which I've always said isn't going to happen overnight. We've got to understand incrementally where we are, what we're doing, how we're progressing, and what the future outlook looks like in terms of what the city can assist with, what the requirements are in service in terms of reliability, our customers' demand, and how the feds and province feed into that. So it's a whole holistic approach. It's very difficult to do an organisation this size within a short period of time. And from experience, organisations that have gone through that process normally find after about 18 months what they did in 6 months wouldn't stack up in time. So it's a due diligence process that we're going through, and as it's supported by the board, for this budget will pay dividends as we go into 26, 27, 28, 29 and beyond.
On the savings side, Councillor Bradford said that, and I'll quote him here, with staff, they put together a wish list of things they'd like to see. They remove those and call it savings. This is not an actual reduction in money spent. It's hypothetical stuff drawn up on spreadsheets. Your reaction to that?
So I haven't seen that statement, and I'm not sure what spreadsheets Councillor Bradford is referring to. However, the tangible benefits of what we started at the end of last year and the pull-through of are coming through. I'll just give a few examples. If you look at the safety statistics and where we were in middle of 25 and the end of 25, improving trends year on year. If you look at, for example, the slow speed zones, again, the investment that we're doing that we haven't had for a long time in terms of track to reducing them have come down year on year. And if you just take it from the fact when I joined, we had circa 23, 24 restricted speed zones after the Mermec geometry check. When we did it this second time, as we do it twice a year now, for the diligence and upkeep of the track to ensure the sustainability of, and proving that the maintenance we're doing is paying dividend to provide the service and reliability that the customers require, and the safety factor. When we did it the second time, it was circa about 14, and we're now down to 10. So that is all coming through in incremental bits and aspects. That's pulling through on the service, which is, again, improving. But which I've always said, the passage we're going down is the incremental aspect of it.
If I might just, my point here is on cost reductions. You claim an $87 million in cost reductions, including $13 million in line-by-line expenditure reviews. The councillor says that is fictitious.
So, again, I can't comment upon what he has read or hasn't read in respect to what he believes is fictitious. As we explained to the board, who went through this in detail in terms of what our profile looks like in terms of where we are, where we're going, it was endorsed by the board.
Mandeep, just to go back to kind of Matt's earlier question, are you concerned about what the finances could be for next year? I know we're waiting on money for the province from this new deal. There's a lot of other things that have to come through. I mean, the numbers seem to be, if not bleak, at least concerning for what lies in the future.
I think, good question. And I think within any organisation, if you look at where we are as a country and as a city, we're going through some challenging times, unpredictability in terms of the global economy, in terms of what may and may not occur. So there's a lot of imbalance in the world right now. What we're doing is we're setting up a plan in respect to work through what we need to deliver for 2026 to set out the longer term strategy and what that would look like.
Well, Mr. Lali, to your point on that, when it comes to inequality and unevenness and looking across, I both agree the province could give more in an operation budget. Do you think that the TTC would be better served by having more levels of government, paying more upfront?
I would suggest a long-term financial and stable funding plan would not only assist the TTC, it would assist the city in terms of where we are today and how we move forward. So that's what, again, I'd reiterate in terms of what was passed today by the board, chaired by Chair Myers today, will help us elevate towards.
And just really quickly, looking at the future as things are, you know, the TTC has about $1.46 billion that would be coming from the city, but the rest of it's from the $3 billion for operations is coming from fares. And if we're seeing ridership not going up or even decreasing to where we thought it would be by this point, and for quarter 4 2024 and also or 25 and 26, the thought was there would be more riders now. If you're not getting the riders and you're relying that much more on operational revenue coming from fares, does this not create a problem down the road if things don't change?
So you could, that's an aspect, but when we did the modelling prior to, we couldn't forecast exactly what happened within the world. And had we had that, we would have been in a different position. But again, that's the whole purpose of having the quarterly financial governance reviews that we will have and are having, and principally the strategic planning committee that we now have in respect to driving that cadence and governance in terms of where we are, what we do, and how we progress there. And yes, funding would assist in terms of long-term stability. So again, we have parameters in place which we didn't have before to help drive us to the place we need to be for long-term sustainability and funding.
Mandeep, on that $380 million pressure next year, you know, there's a note that doesn't include any contract renegotiations. Do you have any kind of idea, dollar figure, how much additional pressure those could bring about next year?
I would refer to this chap's crystal ball who said earlier, if I could refer what the world economy was going to look like, would we be in this position? So it would be unfair of me to make a comment on that because it's something we need to discuss confidentially and work through the parameters of, again, in conjunction with the chair and the board.
And then on ridership, I asked Councillor Myers this morning. You know, last year, towards the end of the year, when the return to office mandates came in, you guys increased subway service, hoping to kind of recoup some ridership, recoup some revenue. That didn't come to pass. Councillor Myers was saying, Chair Myers was saying that we kind of have to really rethink what the TTC is and who it serves. And I'm just, you know, posing the same question to you. How do you kind of conceive of the future of this organization, given that the 9 to 5 commuter doesn't really seem to be the kind of fundamental base of the system anymore? Who does it need to serve going forward?
I agree with Chair Myers.
Mandeep, you've been on the job for 6 months now. Councillor Sachs gave you a...
You always keep reminding me of this. Is there something I need to...
No, I'm keeping you aware,
oh, thank you. Thank you.
How do you feel, you've gone in the past 6 months, have you accomplished what you set out to do at the beginning of your tenure, and what's left on your list now?
So, what's left on my list? It's a long list. However, as with any organisation, you drive it forward with its people, the board, and what we do collectively. I've always said from day one, we're a people business. People business in respect to we deliver a service to a schedule to get customers from A to B safely and reliably. So have we done that? Yes, with the investments from the Mayor, the Chair and the Board, we've got more service now than we had previously and back up to pre-COVID level. So it's the yes. But from the safety perspective, the additional special constables, additional CSAs, investments, the transit, Toronto crisis, community service, engagements now on the platforms to help with addressing that. And also working with the police as well to further enhance the safety aspect of it. So that's the people aspect of it. So is it coming through? Yes, because as I explained earlier, in terms of the pull-through and the statistics, in terms of the service and the reduced speed zone, so that's coming forward. Is there more to do? Yes, absolutely. And will we do it? Yes. And from the business perspective, this is step one in terms of what we went through and presented to the board and the chair endorsed today in terms of how we move forward. But there's a lot of work to do. Let's not shy away from that. This isn't something that we come out here and say, oh yes, everything's going to be fine. There's a lot of hard work to do, and the team have already done. So we're not starting from zero. They've worked diligently through to get to this process, and they'll continue to do so throughout 2026 and beyond.
I'm sure something on your list is the Eglinton Crosstown and getting it open. There was part of it talked about in there. Where are we? It's 2026. Can we expect it kind of early in Q1 this year to be up and running?
So good question. And as I've always said, we're working on the principle with our partners in Metrolinx in terms of when it's safe and reliable to open, we will.
Just in terms of working with Metrolinx, the Finch has had a lot of issues with signal problems, especially during Canadian weather. Do you have a sense of what's going on there, and how would you sort of, can you give us a sense of how you're working with Metrolinx and Mosaic to make sure that the line doesn't go down every time you get a lot of snow?
So again, it's as you referenced the weather, we shared, just to clarify, just so I'm clear. So the designers, the constructors, the installers, the commissioning of the line was all Metrolinx orientated, based, contractually funded. So that's step one. Step two, we are the operators in respect to providing the operators to move the vehicles. And we have a dialogue in respect to, so we shared our winter readiness plans with Metrolinx, as partners do. And they're working through those in terms of how to improve the service and reliability of. So it's an ongoing development that Metrolinx are leading with their contractors, and we are assisting, and we will continue to do so as they require.
I know you often said that it's a new line. It's going to have its bumps that you need to work out. But are you confident that by the end of the winter, that they will have figured out what's going on that keeps on knocking it out of service?
So again, I would say that's more of I don't want to speak for Metrolinx because that has contractual implications, and I wouldn't want to get involved in that. However, let's not also negate the fact that we're still in the bedding-in period based upon the findings from the Ottawa recommendations. So clearly, the findings from Ottawa are paying fruit, because what's occurring now, what Metrolinx with the contractors need to work through, is all of those matters. Again, with any partnership, we'll support where we can now as required.
Mandeep, this morning Chair Meyer said that he would like to see more transparency, not just from the TTC, but also potentially from Metrolinx. Anytime there's any sort of issue with whether it's the Finch LRT or questions about the cost down, it seems like you guys are left answering questions. Do you want to see more transparency and more openness from Metrolinx to provide us, the public, your agency, with more answers so that you're not left having to always kind of defend or answer all these questions?
So, again, I agree with Chair Myers.
Do you want to elaborate on that?
Good answer.
No. But in respect to that, again, I just talked about the partnership in terms of sharing our documents in respect to winter readiness. This is a new model, as referenced earlier, and there'll be teething pains as we go along. Do we collectively need to get better? Yes. Will we get better? Yes. So it's a process.
Right. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Stuart.
All right, we've been listening to the CEO of the TTC, Mandeep Lali, talking after the TTC's meeting just wrapping up. We got a lot of things to get through, just to go through the salient points here. One, the operating budget will be recommended to ultimately City Hall and to City Councillors for approval. This is a $3 billion budget. It's about a 7% increase from last year, and that's roughly consistent with what we've been seeing over the last few years. It was about 6% as an increase operation budget last year as well. The problem is that things can't always meet as they are right now from a financial standpoint, because right now the city is providing more money. This TTC is going into reserves to pay to help pay for the shortfall, and the revenues that the TTC is much more reliant on than, say, other public transit networks for big cities in the country are not there to the point to make up that difference. So you heard questions about what's going to be going on with that $380 million that's looking in the future, a future hole there, and not really an answer coming from the CEO right now about where that money could be coming from at this point. They're focusing a little bit more short term, as much as the capital works and ultimately the state of good repair budgets, looking at things going well into the future past 2034. Those are still in the cards, obviously. They do continuously get updated year over year, but this is one of those situations where there's a more immediate concern when it comes to funding. The TTC, under this budget, Bakari, basically they would get around $3 billion is the whole operating budget, about 1.5, just just under half comes from the city, and the rest of it is revenue generated. Now, you may have heard one of the questions that I asked. That was the difference between OC Transport getting 80% coming from one versus 20. There's a big difference there. Didn't get much of an answer from Lali, but right now they are getting $1.5 billion from the city. We'll have to see in terms of where things go for property taxes and more at City Hall later on this week. I'm going to send it back to you for now, though.
Thanks for the updates, Andrew. We'll check in with him a little later on.